Hey, I'm Alexander Van Stone. I'm a musician and virtual production artist, and I want to give you a behind-the-scenes look at how I did my electric bass cover video for Don't Lose My Number by Phil Collins. All here in my own living room with a very basic video production gear. I started with the original track and its corresponding video. In the video, Phil Collins has pitched different concepts by international directors, and the video smash cuts to montages of Phil in cinematic sequences in the style of each of the pitches. The first one being an old cowboy western. We're going to create our project. So if we go back to library and we go all the way up to the top to our engine versions, I haven't really had a chance to get into Unreal 5.4 yet. I know that's the latest thing, but today we're going to be working in Unreal 5.3.2. Now we're going to go to Film and Video and Live Events. We're going to go to Blank, and I have it already set up to my selection of my desktop Don't Lose My Number folder. And we're going to name this project Don't Lose My Number tutorial version. Okay, we don't need starter content, we don't need ray tracing, so let's go ahead and create. Alright, so we've got our blank project right now. First thing we want to do when we're constructing in Unreal, as we see in our content browser, we don't have anything in the project yet. So I'm going to go ahead and relaunch my Epic Games launcher. And we're just going to go and get all of our assets. So the first thing we need is an environment. So we'll be adding countryside, windmills and barns as our environment. I'm going to go ahead and add to project. See if I can see my project name. Here it is. Adding to the project. Now we can go back to library. The next thing we want is animals. For some reason this doesn't show up when I search it. So the next thing I want is animals variety pack. So we got a fox, a wolf, a pig, deer, and crows. So I'm going to go ahead and add this to our project as well. Okay, so now back to library. Next, we want to add some musical instruments to go with our animations. So I have a... I know it's here somewhere. Here I have a music pack, and I can see we've got a bass guitar right there. So great, I'm sure there's a regular guitar as well. So we'll go ahead and add to project. All right, now I also want to have a dancing robot in this. So thankfully, I have an asset pack that has both skeletal mesh animations as well as a skeletal mesh of a robot. So let's go ahead and just look under my animations. And I've got ActorCore sample motions. These are great. You can kind of see in this picture, I'm going to be getting this robot character along with the animations. So I'm going to go ahead and shrink out of that picture, and we are going to add to project. So now here in our project, we're adding everything. Let's see how the progress is going. So now I'm over in Adobe Mixamo, and they've got a whole bunch of characters in here and animations for them. And since this is going to be a guitar player in the background out of focus behind me, I don't need anything too crazy high detailed. I like this character because she's just wearing like neutral casual clothing, and I know that the animation is already rigged to her, so I don't have to do any retargeting. It just saves me some time and resources in putting this project together. So now that we've got her selected, we're going to go to animations, and I'm going to search guitar. Let's see what we get. So we've got a few different options here. This one is guitar playing. We've got a few variables. We've got stance, style, guitar position, and overdrive. This stock look here, I think it's looking pretty good. So the next thing you do in Mixamo is you just go ahead and download and then do with skin. And then when you do that, it's going to go into your downloads folder, and that's going to have you're going to have an FBX file with your animation as well as the skeletal mesh of this character. And the animation is already like rigged to the skeleton of the character. So again, no retargeting. Next, I'm going to get a little stand-in guy for me that's just helpful in doing the thing. So let's go ahead and look through all of our characters again. Got a bunch to choose from here. There's a guy I liked before when I was working on this. Alright, so this guy's pretty cool to use as a stand-in for me. So next I want to go to animations, and I'm going to search for guitar again. And we can see in this first animation, he looks more like he's playing bass with his hands, which is what I'm going to be doing. So I can lower this guitar position a bit. So that's more like where I'm going to be playing, maybe even a little bit lower. There we go. Okay. And now I can go ahead and download. And that's going to save it in my downloads folder right there. And okay, also for part one, I'm just going to show launching the level. So here in our content drawer, let's go ahead and close my output log here, open my content drawer. Let's go to our Windmills, go to Maps, and let's just check out the Windmill demo map. So here we go. I did an animation of a guy shooting a bunch of zombies in this environment last year. It's great. I think it looks nice. And I really love this picnic table right here to use as a foreground element in our shot. And like, look at this like beautiful background we've got of everything going on in this farm. So next, we want to drop in our assets. So what all? Next, we also want to add new folder, Mixamo. And in this folder, we're going to import our Mixamo stuff for Base Dude. It's going to ask me about this. Click yes for importing animations. Make sure you have skeletal mesh selected and go ahead and import all. Okay, got some sort of error there. So we've got our first guy. This is going to be the stand-in for me in this shot. So we've got him selected here. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to Use Animation Blueprint, switch that to Use Animation Asset. And we are going to pick Base Dude and a Mixamo. And now our guy, if we hit play, he is playing the bass. So next up, we're going to add our guitar playing lady. So she's still here in this Mixamo folder. We're going to go ahead and import Guitar Babe. Make sure you have skeletal mesh and import animations selected. Hit import all. Okay, same error again. And now we've got her. We're going to add her skeletal mesh here into the level. Boom, boom, boom. Here she is. Once again, we're going to go here on her asset tree, and we're going to click Skeletal Mesh Component. We're going to switch Animation Blueprint to Use Animation Asset. And here, we've got the animation asset for her playing guitar. Now we're going to rotate these guys and move them all around. We're just getting everything thrown in the level to begin with. Next up, we want our robot. So if we go to our dummy, we have our dummy female here. So this is kind of just like a crash test dummy robot. So again, click on Skeletal Mesh Component, use Animation Blueprint, switch to Asset. And then here, I like this aerobic dance animation. So now if I hit Simulate, all three of our guys here are going off and getting down to the music. So the next thing I want to be adding in is our animals. So that's down here in our animals variety pack. So I'm going to start out with putting some crows here on the foreground. So I think we can have a couple of crows here on this picnic table. I drop one in, I hit Alt and left click and drag over. Now I've got two. Okay, so next I want to add a doe and a stag. Okay, we will go ahead and give them an animation asset. I'll only do that with these guys first. So, use animation asset. Let's do one, we'll let them do idle wing stretching. And then this one we're going to change to animation asset. And this one's called Eat Something. So now if I hit play, you can see our crows are animated along with our humanoid characters. So next, we're going to go ahead and add a animation asset here to our doe. Now she's just idly chewing. And now we're going to go over the same thing here for our stag. We're going to give him look around. So now if I hit play, we have 7 characters all moving. And about a year and a half ago, I used this little fox for an animation in a redwood environment, and I always like him. So we're going to add our fox skeletal mesh. And this guy, I feel like he's probably hanging out just listening to the jams. So let's switch him to an animation asset. And we'll go to resting. So now we've got our fox resting on the ground. Go ahead and play. And we've got all of our animals and our people moving around. Cool. So always do this. Go and save all. Okay, and then we're going to add our instruments in. So I'm going to go to my musical pack and go to meshes. So we want a bass guitar. Let's see, what do I got? Okay. It looks like here's our static mesh of the bass guitar. And then I'm going to add in a well, it looks like we only got acoustic guitars. So I'm going to go ahead and throw an acoustic guitar in there with her. The next thing we're going to want to do is we just want to create a folder where everything that's going into our comp shot is going to be there. So we'll just call this comp assets. And we can go ahead and select everything that we want in this folder. So we can then go to move to, everything goes to comp assets, and then I think this table, yeah. So this stuff can all go to comp assets. And up here within comp assets, we're going to want to create another folder that we're going to call foreground. And this is going to let me grab, we'll start with, see, all these things are grouped. I'm going to move all of those here into foreground. Garden table, yeah, all this stuff can go here into foreground. And yeah, and the tablecloth. Great. So now that stuff's all just really easy to find later when we get to it. Okay. So we want our guitar and bass player to have these objects move with them. So there's something we need to do. Let's go into our Mixamo folder. It's right here. And we're going to go ahead and create a blueprint actor. We're going to call this Blueprint Guitar Lady. And then we're going to create, yeah, that's going to open for us here. Now we're going to add two components to this. We're going to add a skeletal mesh, and we're going to add a skeletal, well, we don't need a live link, so now we're going to add a static mesh. Okay, so, and see, they're already parented. So here for our skeletal mesh, we're going to go back to our content drawer, and we're going to select our character. And then here in the skeletal mesh asset, we just hit our little button there, and there she is. Now on our static mesh, we go over here back to our music one. We select our acoustic guitar, and we select that to here. Now, the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to go back to the skeletal mesh asset of this lady. And we're going to click on the skeleton here. So this is opening up our skeleton tree. So under hips, we are going to add a socket. And that's what I'm going to connect the guitar to. So because I think both characters use the same skeleton, this should work. So now here, under parent socket, we choose hip socket. So now if I come over to this, we can see the guitar is connected to her hip. So it just now needs to face the correct direction. So let's go ahead and do this and just move our guy around a little bit. That's probably good for a start. And then if we go back to our skeletal mesh asset and we go to animation, and here we select the guitar playing one, we're getting pretty close with the positioning on the guitar. So I think just coming back a little bit. You know, if this is in the background of the shot, I think we're looking pretty good. The one thing I'll do is I will rotate the guitar a little bit that way. But yeah, she's rocking. So let's go back into our content drawer now, and we're going to take this blueprint and we're going to throw that in, and then we can delete our skeletal mesh. Let's make sure we just have that in the parent level there, and then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing for the stand-in character I'm making for myself. So we're calling this BP Bass Dude. It's a blueprint actor. So here we're going to add skeletal mesh. Then we're going to add static mesh. So here under skeletal mesh, you can go into our content drawer, select our guy. There we go. Here under static mesh, we're going to want to go to bass guitar 1 here, select there, and go ahead and assign that. Now here under parent socket, we're going to pick hip socket, and then we're going to go back to our skeletal mesh. Well, first, I think we can do the basic rough-in of where this base should go. So we'll start with 90 degrees up and 90 degrees down and a little bit forward. Okay, so, and then we'll try to, yeah, about there. So the next thing we want to do is see how it looks with the animation asset that I have for this guy. So again here, switch animation asset from blueprint to asset, and then you're going to select the base playing one. All right, this is looking pretty good. Looks like we just need some minor rotation. All right, and I think for what I'm trying to do, this guy's doing good enough. So we're going to go ahead and delete our skeletal mesh, static mesh, and we have another blueprint to drop in. So back in our Mixamo folder, let's look for our BP base dude. And we've got our dude. So now when I hit simulate, we got everybody moving around. One big happy family. All right, cool. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off simulate. And that's step one to building your project and getting all of your assets into it. In step two, I'll be walking you through bringing the camera feed into Unreal Engine. We'll be filming me on the green screen.